session as well.
Hi guys, good evening.
Hey, what's up?
No, this is JK.
Hey, JK, what's up?
Very good. How are you?
You guys are able to see my screen or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So you are able to see this, what is Angular and everything, right? This document?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have not prepared any kind of like a presentation, means like the PowerPoint presentation, right? So I'll go through this document, and our main goal is to understand Angular. And this is really basic stuff, right? So who have like a years of experience from Angular, they might already know all those stuff, right? So this is kind of like a basic. Who is planning to start to build an application in Angular, or who wants to know something about the Angular. Okay. So first of all, what is Angular? I think most of the people knows Angular is one of the popular JavaScript framework. It helps to build single web page application or like a mobile application, right? And it has been developed and managed by Google. So that's the definition. That's the theoretical definition of the Angular. Now, go to what is the prerequisites of Angular? So, like all other front-end tool, we need to know HTML, which one is the basic stuff, right? Other than that one, we need to know CSS at least. And then we also need to know TypeScript, because Angular is much more focused on the TypeScript. Angular itself has been developed into TypeScript. So we need to have some knowledge of the TypeScript. Third one is, we might hear AngularJS, right? And Angular. So what's the difference? Why someone call it as AngularJS and why someone call it as Angular? So basically, AngularJS is the initial version of the Angular. When the Angular 1.0 launches, they name it as AngularJS. And from 2, they name it as Angular. So that's the difference. Other than that one is, there are lots of difference. I'm not going to focus into the what's the architecture of the AngularJS and everything. So I just want to cover that's the high definition of the description between AngularJS and Angular. And from Angular 2, it jumped to the Angular 4. They did not release the Angular 3. From Angular 2, they released to Angular 4, 5, 6, 7. I think the latest might be 12 or 13, I believe. Fourth one is, what is the Angular CLI? So what is the Angular command language interface? So when we are planning to build the Angular, right? Or when we are planning to add a page, which is called component or something, or when we are planning to run the application to the browser, we need to give some kind of like a command. So Angular has its own command. We'll go through that one. That one is called the CLI. So for that one, what we need to do, the first thing is we need to install the Npm to run the Angular application or to build the Angular application. First thing is we need to install the Npm. And here is the link. From this link, we could download the Npm. The full form of Npm is Node Package Management. So the high definition of what the Node Package Management is, it helps to manage different JavaScript library, right? So for example, we are building the Angular application, right? We might implement the like 30 JavaScript library. So we need to manage all those things. So what Npm do is, Npm will help to manage all those JavaScript library. So we'll also when I'll show you from the application, I will show you from where all this Npm related JavaScript framework has been described. So we'll go through that one. Sixth thing is, as I mentioned, Angular CLI, right? So what we need to do is we need to install the Angular CLI. So how can we install? We can install Npm. Once we install the Node Package Management, so with the help of Npm, we could install the Angular CLI with the help of this command. And once we install this one, we need to install Npm. into install CLI, and once we install this one, then we could create our project. So what I will do is I'll create a new app, and then I'll run that app, right? So I have already installed npm, and I have already installed the CLI in my machine. Let me share this one over here, okay? So ng Angular command space new space Angular demo, let's name it, enter, right? Once you enter, what it will do is it will automatically create the Angular app in your machine. So it will take a little bit time. In the meantime, it will take this. Let's wait. So would you like to add Angular routing? Yes, I will describe what's Angular routing, okay? Yes. So what do you want? You want a CSS, or you want a sassy CSS, or you want a Sass, whatever you prefer. Right now, let's select the CSS. Enter. Okay, now it's installing all the packages over here. So far, anyone have any queries, any question, any concern?
No, all good.
Good, good. So what we cover so far is like it's creating the app. We create what is Angular, difference AngularJS versus Angular, Angular CLI, npm, and we install Angular CLI, and we just run the app, create the app, and then we run the app. So I'm not going to I'm not sure whether I could cover all this stuff or not. Even if I do not cover, we could go through all other stuff in the next like a session, because I just want to go slowly. So it installing the package is still. What I will do actually is I will open my existing app, and I'll go through that one. I'll also open this one so that you guys know how to create the project and how to run the app. For now, let me show you this one. So here, what I did is I create the project, then I have created all the component, everything, and I name it as a demo, and we'll go through this one, okay? So what I did is I opened this one into the Visual Studio Code. So now what we'll do is this one is still, it's creating. We'll understand the Angular app flow of the Angular app. So once you run the Angular app, right? So it has it has a folder, then app inside the app, right? When you run it, it will automatically create some of the folder. The one folder it will automatically create is when you give that ng new whatever package folder, sorry, project name, it will automatically create angular.json. In angular.json, what we are defined is in this angular.json, we have the main key values pair. So in this key, we have defined source main.ts. So this is the one it will hit first, main.ts through angular.json, main.ts. And from main.ts, what it will do is Angular is like, it has been mentioned, platform for browser dynamic, right? So this is the platform for browser dynamic is when it run to the browser. So from here, it will bootstrap module. This is the module. So it bootstrap module, app module. So this app module, then from main.ts, what it will hit is, it will hit app module. F12 app module. So this is the app module. So I'll describe what is the module and everything a little bit later. For now, what I will do is I will just let you know the high definition of the module, right? The module is, think this one as a content, right? So, sorry, container. So in the container, you can put everything inside the container, right? Same thing in the module, you could put everything, whatever is needed for this Angular app. So in this Angular app, we need component, this component, right? And we are importing the module, and we have different services and things. So all those things has been described over here. And from here, added module, then it will go to the component. This is the component. So what is component? Component is that one from where the data is flow to the template. Template is the HTML, so which you can see in the front end, right? So what component is from data it comes, and from here it flow to the template. So that's the component. We'll again describe more about the component. And from component, if you notice, it has been mentioned the app, right? So it need to be show something into the front end page, which one is our HTML. So it will go to index.html. If you see, index.html has its head. That's why it's called like a single page web application. This single page, right? Over here, we have been defined the app root, and this app root we have been defined into the app.component.ts, which one has the app.component.html, which one it called the template. And here in this template, we have defined all those things. So it has a router outlet, and this router outlet is for routing. So it goes to this routing, and from here, it will go, or whatever routes it has been defined, it will go to that routes, right? So this one is, we are just describing right now the flow of the Angular. We have not covered what is, we covered like from high level, what is module, what is component, everything, but we'll describe it. So this is how the Angular application flow. When you run the app, it will flow like this way. So far, any queries?
So templating engine, is that provided by Angular, or you can use an external template engine as well?
So this one is provided by the Angular. So when you are adding the component, for example, with using the Angular CLI, right? So you are generating the component, it will automatically generate these files. If you go to the component.ts, it will automatically generate one style related, which one is the CSS, and template, which one is the HTML, and this one, the component.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone have any further queries? Okay, nice. So let me show you one thing. So this one is our existing app. Just a second, one thing. This one is our existing app, right? We have developed. So the app has been developed. Now what I will do is, I will open that app. OPEN, open, come on. Okay, let me see. I think I give the wrong command. No problem. I will open from here. It's Angular demo, right? Okay. So here is the one. So you guys are able to see this one? So this
VS Code,
app,
yes.
yes. So what I did is actually ng new and whatever project name, it automatically develop this one. I didn't do anything, right? Now what I will do is I'll go to the terminal, and what I will do is I will give one command, npm install. So what it will do is, npm install will do is, like for example, if you want to, let's suppose you develop one front-end application, right? And you, in your front-end application, you might implement like a 30 JavaScript library, whatever library, multiple JavaScript library, right? You don't want to like install all the JavaScript library and give all those things to other people, or like a source code to anything. So what you could do is, whenever you need it, you can implement like npm install, and whatever JavaScript you can install like that JavaScript, and you can install. When you install that one, what will that what will happen is we have the package.json. In this package.json, it will automatically mention that one over here. For example, here, see, you see dependencies, whatever dependencies, everything will be defined over here. Then what you could do is, so you can give this source code to another developer, or like in wherever you can put in the source control or anything, and he or she could, pull this one, and he or she could install all these necessary things before running the application. And for that one, what we could do is npm install. And when you hit npm space install, it will automatically install all the related dependencies file in your machine. Where it will install also. You see this node modules. So inside this node modules, you see it has already been installed all those related files. So you can delete all the node modules, right? And once you delete, after you delete, what you can do is you can npm install, enter, and it will automatically install all the related, all the dependencies files. That's what it's doing right now. And once you install that one, then you can run your application. So now it installed. So now what we could do is we could do ng, which one is Angular command, right? Ng serve is serve. Where we want to serve? We want to serve in the browser. So that's why we have mentioned that one over there, like open browser something. And then we want to automatically open the browser. So what we can do is -op. Now, what it will do is it will automatically, right now, we have not developed anything. We have just create the project, Angular project, and it create the default Angular project. And then we hit npm install, and then we give ng serve open command. That's all we did. Let me wait a little bit time so that I just want to show you the app. So this is the default app. It automatically designed by Google team. So we have not done anything over here. So here is the app. So it has been hosted localhost, and this is the app, right? So where this welcome has been defined. If you minimize this one and go over here, as I mentioned, the flow is main.ts from angular.json, right? Add module, then add component.ts, and then index.html, and from here app.component.html, where it has been defined. They have defined everything over here. Style also over here. So, but the correct way is we need to have the separate file for the style. So all the CSS has been defined over here like this. Now what we could do is we could delete this one, and whatever we want, we can add more component over here, and then we can add component on the basis of our requirement, and then we can build whatever application we want. Let me close this one and open the one that the existing one which I have developed, right? And we'll go to that one. Any questions so far? Okay. Then now what we will cover is, so we understand the flow. We built one application, right? And in this application, what I did is, on the basis of my requirement, I have added all these things. I have added different kind of like a component, right? I have added like all the CSS. This is the global CSS. So here, and this is the component level CSS. All those things I have defined. Now let me describe module first. Okay. So as I already been described, that module is the container where we could put all the app related stuff, right? So this is the container where how the Angular knows this one is module. So it has been decorated with the ng module. So this helps Angular to understand, oh, this is the module. So what is this one? So is component, we have the component level model and we have the root level module. So this one is the root level module. So this one is the root level module. In this root level module, we have described everything. So we have implement this many component. And we have, so this is the declaration. And we have imports other component. For example, we have imports browser module, which helps to browse our app. We have defined HTTP client module, right? And which will help to connect to the HTTP. We have defined all, we're importing all those things. Providers. We have the providers. The providers is the service, like service. And in this provider, for example, right now, I have not connected with any backend. So what I did is I have created one fake backend provider. And I have mentioned, I have decorated that one as a service. And this whatever service I have implemented in this application, I need to describe into my modules. Otherwise, the application will not understand, right? So we need to describe whatever service we have in our application inside the providers. So we have this fake backend provider. We have the global service. All this service has been defined over here. And then we have the bootstrap. Bootstrap is this module related component, right? So this is the app component. So this is our module. Let's go to the component. Now from modules, we'll go to the component. This is the app.component, right? But like for example, in this application, let me run this application before I describe all these things. Okay. Here it is. And what I will do is I will do the same thing in Npm Install because I think I have deleted the node modules folder. There is no node module folder right now. If you go over here, see, this one does not have any node modules right now. Okay. So now what I could do is I could perform Npm install. Then what it will do is whatever I have the dependencies file and everything, it will automatically install inside the node module folder. Npm install, then it will start to installing all the dependencies file inside the node modules. It will install. In the meantime, we'll go to the component. So component, for example, this one is the app component, right? And this component, how, the first question is how Angular understand this is the component. Angular, we need to decorate the component. Once we decorate with add component, the Angular will understand, okay, this class, because it's a, okay, one thing. You see, we have written everything in TypeScript, right? Now, what is TypeScript? TypeScript is the superset of JavaScript. And TypeScript, like I have, like when I started my career, I have the, like, oops, most of the time I work in C#. So I have the oops background. So the TypeScript, whoever has the, like working in the Java or the C#, it's really easy to understand the TypeScript. This is also the object-oriented programming language, right? And the guy who developed C#, the same guy developed this TypeScript. So this is the TypeScript, right? So in this TypeScript, it has a class, and this class, like it doesn't matter whether it's the modules, component, sorry, whether it's the component, it's the service, that's the class. So how Angular know whether it's this class is the component or not? We have decorated as a component. Once we decorate as a component, okay, Angular know this class is a component. And once it's a component has three things: selector, right? Template URL to see, and style URLs for the styling, CSS and everything. Okay, so now Angular know, okay, this is the component, right? What's the job of the component? The job of the component is it will take the data from the service. So in this case, it's taking the data from authentication service, for example, right? It's taking the data. If you go each page, all the page, for example, if you go to the login page, we'll go to the component of the login page, what it will do, it will help to log in the users. For that one, we need to authenticate the user, right? So it authenticates with the help of service, and then it gives that data to the front end. Or it will take the data from the front end and passing to the service, right? That's the job of the component, the flow of the data. Any questions so far? Okay. Cool. So it's taking a little bit more time. No problem. We cover module, we cover component, right? Go to the template and then bindings. Template. So as I mentioned, the component template is nothing but all the HTML tag and everything has been defined into the template. So for example, if you go to the login HTML, so all the HTML has been described over here. So whoever had the HTML, I think most of the people, of course, are aware of the HTML tag and everything, right? So everything has been defined over here. Other than HTML, here you see some of the Angular syntax is also over here. For example, this one, right? All these things. We'll describe that one. So this is the template. And after the template, we'll go to the binding. So what is the binding? There are different kind of binding. The first binding, as it has mentioned, template binding. What is the template binding? Template binding is, see, this is the template binding. Is the curly braces. What this curly braces is doing is, once we put this curly braces, it understands that we need to take the data from the component to over here. So this one is the property which one has been described into the component. If you go to the exception message, so what we are doing is, if some exception happens, exception happens, so this one. So this exception has been described into our case file. So here, see, so what we are doing is, if the user authenticate, then go inside that one. If not, then throw the exception, and whatever exception message it will come, right? So that things we are describing over here. So this is called a template binding. Another one is event binding. What is event binding? So event binding is when some events happen into the template, it need to pass those information to the component, right? So for example, what's happening over here? When you put some kind of username, when you input the key, then this key up, whatever the key up with this bracket, right? This is event binding. So if the event key up happens, call this method from the component. So when the key up happens, this event happens, it is calling input key up. Let's go over here and see what is the input key up. See this input key up. So these things happen. So it's calling this one. So event happened and it's calling the method from the component. So that's why it's called a event binding. Property binding. What is the property binding? So as all of you know, HTML tag has its own property, right? There are various kind of property in the HTML. So for example, I might have been defined over here. See, button disable. This is the property of the HTML tag, right? So when the disable happens, which are the Boolean values, this Boolean values is taking from the component. So this is the property. So and it depends on this one, this property of the component, right? So that's why it's called a property binding. This kind of bracket. And another one is two-way data binding. What is the two-way data binding? So right now, what we are doing over here, it's passing the data from component to template, right? And sometimes we are passing in the event binding, what we are doing from template, from template to component. So this bracket, if you see, this bracket is event binding and this bracket is component binding. This bracket is property binding, right? Event binding and property binding. when we include this both, like for example, ng model, which one is ng model, which has been described by Angular. So here what we did is we did put both bracket over here. So now what's happening is we are taking the first name from component to HTML, from component to template, as well as what we are doing is we are passing the data from template to component as well. Also, now npm install has been happened. Okay, so Angular command sir, and we are opening in browser. That's why we forced open. It will open the application. So far, any queries?
No, we are good. I think I'm good.
Cool.
But there's also like maybe this out of this, there's a constructor and the ng on it, right? So what's the difference between these two? Maybe this out of these questions, but we can also talk.
Yeah,
later.
so that one is means yeah, that basically we are focusing right on the Angular. But if you want to understand that one is, this one is related to, if you see the object-oriented programming concept, right? Object-oriented has the constructor, and this ng initialize is, this is the constructor. Like every object-oriented programming language has a constructor. Once the object created, right? Object has the constructor, right? So ng on initialize is like it's kind of like the page life cycle happens. So the page life cycle, it has happened different kind of things, not only initialize. For example, if you are in the Java or if you're in the .NET, it has its own page life cycle, right? So like that way, Angular has its own page life cycle. So first it initialize it. We need to cover all the page life cycle, you know? So that one is, yeah, that one is out of scope right now, but that one is the part of the page life cycle, initializing that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Let me open this one incognito mode because I have already caching over here. So so no username and password right now, right? So what I did is actually I have created the Fed backend. In the Fed backend, I could register over there. And what I could register whatever I want. Let me register yes.
Where is this data stored right now?
Oh, that is stored. That data has been, I'll cover that one as well. Just a second.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I put only 4 registered, password must be at least 6 characters. Okay. So Sonic Mola at test register. So once it's successfully registered, it will redirect to this page. Now I could put let me put the wrong password. Okay. Username or password is incorrect. And let me put the right password now. So when I click this one, event binding happened, right? Login, correct? Then it's happened event binding, right? So that thing happened. So why I'm trying to show this one is two-way data binding. So two-way data binding, what's happening is we are saving this one, calling this one to the service, to the component, right? In the component, this data is there. And from component, what it's doing is it's passing that information to our template, right? And let me change this one, Sonic to so, right? And now what it's doing is it's passing from template to the component as well. When I click on update, it's updating right now. So the update, I think I have not implemented all those things, but the first name has been updated. So how it's updated is it's passing this data, which one is in our template, to the component, and through the service, it's sending those information to the backend. That's how it's updating. So if I refresh it, the session is there because we have not logged out, so it's here, right? So when I click on log out, it's log out. So that thing happened. So that's the two-way data binding. This one is the directives, right? So the directives is like when we want to manipulate the DOM, right? DOM element. So we need to implement the directives. So directives is to, like, for example, structural directives we have. What is structural directive will do is it will change the structure of the DOM element, right? So for example, if you go over here, we might have a ng if somewhere over here. For example, this one, or for example, whatever is here, right? Okay, so this one is ng if. So ng if this one, so what it's doing is ng if this is true, submitted is true, and this one is true, then if this one, again over here, if the required, then so this one, this div element, right? So that's why it's the structure of the div, sorry, the structure of the DOM has been changed. So that's the called structural directives. Another one is attribute directives. So when you are changing the attribute of the HTML with the help of CSS, of course, right? So that one is called attribute directives. So you can, I'm just showing the ng if. You can check the ng for and ng switch as well. Whatever, like the for and switch we have implemented in our logic, like the same way where you can implement into the template here. Attribute directives is to change the attribute of the HTML page, right? With the help of ng style or ng class. I have implemented the ng class somewhere. Let me search that one. So ng class, what it's doing is, so if update button disable is true, right? The property, this property, which one has been defined into our component. If it's true, then btn opacity. Btn opacity is our CSS file, which we have defined into the CSS, right? So over here, opacity is this one, right? So if is true, then implement that one, and then update button will be disabled. So this one change the attribute, right? The color we can change. Here we change the opacity. We can change anything, whatever we want. That's why it's called attribute directives. So far, any queries? Let's cover the services and dependency injection. So let me go over here. First, let me go here. So what we are doing over here is, when someone click the unsubmit button, then we are authenticate this one, right? The login. So with the help of the service, as I mentioned, the component will always call the service, and from the service, it will verify the data. When it's right now in this specific test scenario, what we are doing is we are calling the authentication service, right? Let me go to the authentication service just for example. First question is the same questions, right? Is this out? No, this is not the authentication service. Just a second. Yeah, here it is. Let me go this one. First question is how Angular know this is the service. For the service, we need to decorate with add injectable. So we have decorated with the add injectable, so that what we could do is we could inject this service to any component, right? Now this is the service. We need to call this service to the login.component.ts, right? What we need to do, we need to decorate first. This is the service. How it understand, how it knows is add injectable. Now we need to inject this service to the login component. How we can do that one? See in the constructor, we have injected this one over here. And once we inject this one, then we can call this one, and whatever the service we have implemented over here, we can do that one. Right? So that's why it's called a dependency injection, right? It injects the dependency. So the component is dependent on this one. I believe most of you aware of the dependency injection, because most observable programming languages have the dependency injection, right? So that's the thing. Other than that one, routing. Routing is when you route from one page to another page. For example, in this specific example, what we are doing is we are once the user authenticate, then route to the home page, right? So go to login component.ts. What it will do is on submit, when someone click on unsubmit, then it's calling authentication.login, and then it passing username and values. What is this after username? This one is I'm taking directly from the template. So if you see over here, see login form.controllers. So I have defined this login form, username and password. Which one is this one? Login form group, username, password, and then whatever passing over here, this username, right? Form control name, it's passing over here values, and then it's calling this service, and this service will authenticate that one. And if it's true, then it's routed to over there, and it's working over. If exception comes over here, so when this one, if you go to our routing, where is our routing? app.routing.models, right? If you go over here, if nothing has been passed, go to the home component, and then it will go to the home component. So for example, if someone wants, and without logging, if they want to go to the home component, there is auth guard. So auth guard will not authorize that user. So auth guard, this auth guard need to authorize the user. And once this authorize the users, then only he could go inside that. If not, if this will not authorize, what will happen is it will route to the login page. So this start router, what is the this start router? Is as we mentioned, this start router is the service. See this service. As I mentioned, if it's the service, what we need to do? We need to inject that service. So we inject in the constructor, and this we are calling over here. So this is the routing, right? And another one is pipes. Pipes is like a you can give one input parameter, and you want to change something else, then we can use the pipes. For example, if you want to give some numeric values, and if you want to change that one with a currency, any currency, US currency, Indian currency, any currency, Nepalese currency, like what it will do is that pipe will change that. Or not only the currency, date, other things. There are lots of pipes over here. Even what you can do is you can develop your own pipes by decorating and pipes. You can implement your own pipes over there. So in our example, I will give you one example. Might be here. Let me my username. I don't know what is happening. Anyway, let me run the application. Let me run one more time. So what I'm trying to show is, if you go to the home.component.html, we have implement the pipes over here. So what I'm doing is, for example, if you enter something, some rupees, in this example, I have entered the Nepalese rupees, and this Nepalese rupees will change to the US dollar. And what will happen is the pipe, if we decorate like this way, these things, and this currency USD, then what it will do is it will automatically convert this Nepalese rupee to US dollar. There is I have implemented the conversion like a method over here, but like the dollar sign will automatically come over here. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's suppose if I put like a 100, see, I haven't mentioned the dollar over here, so it automatically comes over here, right? So that's the use of the pipes. Any queries so far?
So Nick, so that pipe is different from the one you use in the services, right? In the backend, when you call the services with the pipe.
Yeah,
Can you
pipe
give the
is
yeah.
service is different and pipe is different. Pipe is like the
Yeah.
pipe is like inbuilt pipe. That one is that is Angular inbuilt pipe. But pipe is also the service, you know, like because it behaves as a service. But that one is Angular inbuilt pipe. So what you can do is you can build your own pipe. First, you need to, and pipe is also service, right? It's the service. But if you decorate as an add pipe, it will behave as a pipe.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We can add customized pipe, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Let me go one thing like push the mask, right? Let me go over here. So here, when you register, let me go over here. So once you complete this one, what will happen is unsubmit. So once you hit the unsubmit, it will go over here, right? And if the submit happens, so what we are calling is we're calling the service to register. And this register form dot value, this is the form where it has all the values, right? If you go to the register form, is the first name, last name, username, password, and everything is over here. And when I go inside this one and click register, right? So register has the method. US register. So this is the service, right? What this service is doing is this service is calling the backend. Since we do not have the real backend, so what I did is I created the fake backend. So what is the fake backend? It's the fake backend, right? So there is the fake backend. So this one is calling this one, right? And this one is calling this method. So I'm going this inside this method. And in this method, what we are doing is we are creating one object, right? In that object, we are saving that one. So here is the things. So we are saving to that object in local storage the set item. So this is the one. It will cast the object. So this users is I think it's the array. Yeah, it's the array, right? So we can add, you can register as many users as we can. So, but the thing is, this one has been cast as, so local storage that set item, in this item, it will save. Unless and until we do not delete from this object, it will be remain over here. So register, everything it will take, right? And then it will push that one, and it will set those items inside in this object. And when we are deleting, I have not implement the method of delete is here, but I have not implemented that one. So what we could do is we could delete, remove the item, which one is local storage dot remove item. If we do, for example, local storage dot remove item, and whatever item we can remove from here. Right. So as long as we do not remove that one, it will be remaining over here. That's how it's saving the data.
Okay, so it's saving the local storage of the browser, and we can connect it to an external API or something like that, so that it goes to a database. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So normally, like in this specific example, we have the UI, right? Which one is the combination of the template, component, and to the CSS, right? And then everything is UI, but I'm just trying to layerize that one. So after that one, what it will do, it will calling the service, our service, Angular service, right? Where in the service, we have defined everything. So we have different kind of service. This is really small project, right? But even in this small project, if you notice, I have created the multiple services. So I have created, I have not implemented all our service, but I have implemented the authentication service. I have implemented the global service. What is the global services? Why I'm using the global services? If you like the services is you can expose the method, right? You can expose the variable or whatever. In this specific example, I'm exposing this one. So right now I'm I am surfing everything over here, API URL. So what I have defined. So tomorrow, if I want to update this one, I do not want to update everywhere. So that's why I describe over here, and I could update over here, right? And this one is the global services, and it has just the parameter over here. And tomorrow it might be like 100 parameters over here, right? And this one is user service. So all the user related information related method is over here. And what this user service will do is user related backend will call from here, right? So I have implemented these 4 services over here. And because I don't have the fake backend over here, so that's why what I did is I have created this one. So and when the route comes over here, it will call specifically that route related method over here. This authenticate method, register, get user, update, delete user, which I have not implemented, error and everything over here. This is a very simple application and very high level kind of stuff. Any questions so far?
No, and this is really good. I mean, I can add one more thing, like, but we can also HTTP intersect, right? We can handle the error in one place.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, and on the basis of our requirement, we can do anything, whatever we need, right?
Yeah.
So it is like how you want to manage your application, right? On the basis of that one, how you manage your folder structure, how you want to manage the file structure. Even like one more thing, like for example, right now what I'm doing is I'm putting the module, which only one module. You can implement the component level modules. Here also you can implement the component level. So what component level module will do is component level module is do the lazy loading. You know, like right now you are loading everything from the root level. Instead of that one,
Right.
no, I don't want that one. I want just for login, just use the login related module. So that you can implement the lazy loading, which will improve our performance, right? That things also we can implement. Yeah. And here right now I'm implementing the CSS. Like instead of CSS, if you want to sassy CSS, which one is I think much more popular than CSS nowadays, right? Or yes, CSS, whatever you want, you can implement that one as well. And also you can implement all your theme and everything over here, you know, and even like this karma.config, I have not described all those things. So this one is like, for example, for the testing purpose, you can also implement this one. This is out of scope right now, but we can implement, you know. So all those things is over there. And then like, for example, over here, what you can do is you can create like one separate folder for images, or in the assets folder, if you see, in the assets folder, all the assets means like your images, your icon and everything you can put over here. Yeah. So this source code is available in GitHub. If you want, you can download and you can run the application and see how it's running. Even like some of the things I have been committed over there, you can implement that one. You can play with the code, whatever you need. And that GitHub link is in my Eventbrite. Sorry, in that event page. I have also mentioned the GitHub link and the source code over there. The link of the source code. So far, so good.
Yes, good. Thank you, Sonic. I mean, this is really like managed. You put all the titles there, so you cover most of the stuff there. So it was kind of refreshing for me. So nice.
Cool. Thank you very much. Anyone have any queries further?
No, I just want to say thank you. I have no idea. I had no idea about Angular. At least I know where to start if I need to create an app. So yeah, thank you for doing this.
You are welcome. If not, like it's nearly done. Just one more thing I would like to add. Like our next presentation will be on, most probably will be on the end of February, which one might be on February 26th at same time. And Purushottam is going to give the presentation. So Puru, you want to give short description about that presentation?
Sure. So I was thinking I'll do like an introductory session on Kubernetes. my idea was that we'll sort of create a Docker image. We can take any language, right? Python, Node, anything, and we create a Docker image and we deploy that to a Kubernetes cluster and we see it in action.
Yeah.
If folks are interested in that, I'm more than happy to do.
Cool. That would be nice.
Yeah, nice. I'm excited. Yeah, I have done a little bit, but that's good to know better. So nice.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Then that's
Sounds
good. Then guys, catch you next month. I'll create the event page, and if you guys are interested, welcome to everyone, whoever interested in that session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Sonny.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for organizing this. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, catch you later, guys.